sewing, which might seem like a weird place to sew. I had recently, I want to say last Friday, although everything seems to be blurring together, there were a bunch of us who met up at Brooklyn General. It was an event organized by Kristen of the Vine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast because Laura of the Diaries Notebook podcast and Jinx Yarns was in town. And we all got together at Brooklyn General, which is it's a really kind of homey and cozy, really kind of that country chic kind of aesthetic knitting store that also sells a significant amount of fabric. And we got together and we shut down the store and we had a lot of fun. And I acquired a fair deal of fabric there for a quilt. I'm not going to show you guys the fabrics today because there's so much other stuff to show you. But I was going back and forth out up at the front of the store. They had two displays of fabrics. There were the kind of cat-based cotton and steel fabrics, and there were these nautical themed fabrics, and they were all like jellyfish and octopuses, and I think one of them had little narwhals in the background, and I was like, where do I go? What do I do? And so I did decide on the cat fabric. Spoiler alert for next time. But for a work project, I had to actually go this week to City Quilter in Manhattan, which is pretty much, as far as I know, it's our biggest kind of quilt store within the tri-state, within the New York City area at the very least. And while they sell a lot of New York City specific fabrics in their own exclusive lines, which is what I was there for, I came across a couple of sea and cider fabrics from a different line than the one I had seen at Brooklyn General, and I immediately purchased one of them, or two of them, and brought them home to make project bags. And I only have the first one here, but look at that, guys. Look at the little narwhals and these little octopus. There's a little pufferfish. I mean, look at that. Look at all of these amazing sea animals. And then on the other side, as you can see, front and center is a beautiful whale. I like the project bags that I make. I make really simple kind of project bags that just have a kind of like an inset zipper. So they're just kind of like that. Really simple. This is a good size for me to fit a lot of my different projects in. So I literally ran home Friday after work and I sewed that. I sewed a bunch of other project bags that I can't show you because they're for certain swaps. And I just had a grand old time. I have another similar fabric that once I buy some more sewing machine needles, because it seems like every time I sew, I end up breaking a few needles, and it just so happened that I was out after breaking enough needles this time, so I couldn't continue. But I did pick up those new needles this morning, as today is Sunday, June 25th, I believe. So I'll be back at the machine sewing away, and then next time I'll show you guys the fabrics that I bought for my quilt top. I have some really unlike me ideas. Normally I'm all about straight lines and the modernism of that. I have something a little bit outside the box, or should I say circular, in mind. So we'll see where those ideas go. We'll see what ends up happening. What I want to show you next is actually my only work in progress. I mentioned last time that, not in last time's episode about sweaters and all that, but in the episode before, that I had a project that was in time out. And that would be my Breezy cardigan by Hannah Fettig in the Woot base by Nerd Girl Yarns in their Space Age Clockwork colorway. This project has taught me so much. I have always been a product knitter. I don't get as much of a kick out of, the knitting as I do the final project and the pride I feel in wearing that final object. Well, for the Breezy cardigan, you can choose to work it in a fingering or lace weight. And as part of my Harry Potter owl for this term, and I'm horrible at owls. Owls are effectively 3-month projects that you plan. If you complete them, you get a bunch of fake internet points. I'm really bad at them because I'm really bad at knowing 3 months in advance what I'm still going to be willing to work on. But for my Harry Potter owl, I picked this cardigan because I've always admired it. I have the Hannah Fettig Knitbot book, and I'm steadily working through knitting every single pattern in that book. And so eventually I had to come to this one, which I adore. I absolutely adore it. It's an open front cardigan. It is so my style. But I decided to go with lace weight. And I've never really knit a lot with lace weight before. This is really the first real thing I'm knitting out of like a true lace weight. And guys, I gotta tell you, I was pretty sure this would never ever happen. I was so sure at a certain point that I would be pulling this sweater off the needles and throwing it far across the room, and we were going to test whether or not wool could catch fire, because I was gonna set this on fire. This was gonna be a bonfire in the living room, and we were gonna make s'mores. I was positive, because it felt like I was just knitting and 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 knitting. But it turns out when you do all that knitting, you get somewhere eventually. So this is that cardigan. Still a work in progress, as you can tell, but you can tell I've actually gotten a good way. What you can't tell is the exact measurement, which is that right now it is 12 inches from the underarm to fine. For my size, I need to get 12 and a half before I start the 3 inches of ribbing for the bottom. And I was amazed by this. I thought this cardigan was a lost cause until I was looking at projects on Ravelry to try and just inspire myself to continue, I guess. You know, except I wasn't going to do it for House Cup, and that I can be the type of person to keep a project on the needles and just keep working on it. And I started looking at those projects and going, doesn't look that long. That doesn't look as long from the underarm to the waist as I thought it did. And I was at my desk at work. I had actually gotten in for lunch, and I was checking something, and I set it down, and I pulled out the cardigan to measure, and I said 8.5 inches, and I was like, I can do this! This is possible! And so, yeah, I will be starting the ribbing as soon as I am done with this podcast. And I'm very excited, because this feels feasible. It feels possible again. And I know, we were talking last time about not feeling proud of when you finish something, or about how good it feels when you finish certain projects. This will be for a very long time the thing I am proudest of. Again, this is Whoop from Nerd Girl Yarns in the Space Age Color Clockwork colorway. And I know it's hard to kind of see because you can see me straight through it, which I love. Absolutely love. But this colorway has lots of all of these different pops. There's blues and reds and yellows and purples and grays. And there's, various shades of those purples and blues and yellows and grays and reds and all those things. But initially I was hoping this would be more of a black cardigan with pops of color. This is really a pops of color cardigan with some gray to it, with some black to it. And so you can see if I put it up against kind of my shirt. Yeah, not black, more poppy, but oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. Per Harry Potter House Cup rules, I actually just handed in my midpoint. Yay! Which means that I still have the rest of the sweater to go. So by the end of July, I should have the full ribbed cuff, the bottom ribbing, and the sleeves done. Now I'm only going to about 3/4 length sleeves on this, so lots of excitement in that work in progress. The reason I only have one work in progress is one part the mojo loss, but another part because I finished some stuff. And I'm not thrilled with either. Big shock, guys. I know. So this is from the Shawl Society by Helen Stewart. This is the Talesman shawl. This is the first of that series. Mine came out significantly less shallow. English major bad. Than I was expecting. But you can see that beautiful kind of star stitch cluster pattern. I did at the border incorporate that blue there is my very first hand spun. So I was excited about that. I did not do the picot border. It's too much for my brain. This yarn, the gray, is Pearl Soho's Lime Weight in the charcoal colorway. It was purchased for my birthday about 3 years ago, so it's a pretty special kind of colorway for me. In general, it would be fine, except it broke. It broke. So here is the top of the shawl, and you can see there's a gap right there where these two should meet. This piece and this piece should be right next to one another. And this should be like lifted up, and it should be a little bit more like that. But it broke. It actually broke. So it should look like this, but instead it looks like this. And so I don't know how to fix that quite yet. So I've been pretty angry at it, and it's just been sitting over there. If you have any ideas or tips or tricks on how I can work on that, please do let me know. The other finished object I have, you're going to wonder how it's finished. I will tell you in full disclosure, I bound this off. And then I realized at some point I was going to have to work a little bit more on it. So I put it on waste yarn to hold. This is my Cobain top. Can't remember if I had this as a work in progress last time, but the top portion of it is some Nerd Girl Yarns Parlay in the Institute of the Arts colorway. And the bottom portion of it is Nerd Girl Classy DK in there. It's beginning to look like summertime. It's a Gatsby, Great Gatsby inspired colorway that I can't remember the full official name of. The back is where it's really interesting. And so you have at the top, you will have these 3 little eyelets, which are amazing. And then you have this line of increases that goes straight down. And I'm pulling it up slowly because I decided to change those increases, as you'll start to see right there, to a different shape that's a little bit more flattering to my body. Why, you must ask, is this beautiful color in this beautiful pattern something I'm not happy with? Well, it's tight. And it's not tight anywhere in particular. It's tight like right here along the upper bust line, but it's not tight there. So it feels really, really tight when I'm wearing it, but I can slip a full hand or two in. So it's not actually tight, it just feels tight. So this is going into a pile of things that will not get worn or really shown to people until I lose weight. So, but yeah, I'm not happy with that. The rest of what I have to show you in terms of finished objects are all spinning finished objects, guys. And that doesn't sound normal, I know, because I don't tend to have a lot of finished spinning objects, but I do. I don't know, something, I just caught the spinning bug again. And so starting with the UGG turned O. We were talking last time about my gradient from Fiber Optics that I purchased at Rhinebeck a few years in the Parakeet colorway. And this is it. You may notice it looks arty. So what had happened here is I went to chain plied, and chain plied is a process of making loops and then feeding the yarn through those loops so that you can make a 3-ply yarn out of a single strand. I went the wrong way. And so in doing that, here's a really good example. See all those little curly cues and all that? That's what happens because effectively I ended up putting way too much ply into this. I was gonna reverse it and run it back through the other way, but I don't know. There's something, I really like how funky it is. Like, it wasn't intentional, but I like how cool that looks. I don't know. Any ideas what I can use this for? I mean, that's number one. And again, that was a Fiber Optics gradient in the Parakeet gradient that I purchased at Rhinebeck last year. I mentioned last time that I wasn't exactly thrilled with how it drafted. It was a merino silk blend, but it felt different than most merino silks I've worked with, where it felt very sticky. And then I realized a lot of it was actually felted. So my next spinning finish object is my first 3-ply. You may notice I'm smelling everything because I've stopped using Eucalan and I've started using, for my roving at least, hair conditioner. And it smells amazing. So I can't stop. But yeah, this is my first 3-ply. This is something I picked up at Rhinebeck, but it was from, it didn't even actually have a label. It was I know it was a merino silk blend. But yeah, this is my very first 3-ply, and it's, guys, I get it. It's a bit of a mess. Like, you don't have to tell me that, but I was really excited to do a 3-ply. And so, here it is. I mean, look at that. Look at that. There's definitely some areas of too thick, too thin, and all of that. But I immediately told this is the same percentage-wise of merino silk as the fiber optics gradient. It just drafted so much better. But it was on this that I learned that I have way too much twist in my yarn, and that's something that I need to work on. Because this is a single of just that 3-ply. I had a bunch of single left, so I turned it into a little mini skein. And for those of you who spin, you can probably see there's a lot of twist in this for single. So much so that even after this has been treated as a single, it still wants to come back on itself. And so this is full open, everything is, it still wants to, there's no balance to this. And so a little bit of a closer look there. I still have some ways to go in terms of creating a better balance in my yarns. But I'm getting there. I'm starting to enjoy spinning more. I'm starting to, I'm starting to get a kick out of it. I'm starting to not get as exhausted at the wheel. I'm actually wondering if part of the reason why I found treadling to be so difficult was in fact because I was treadle, and adding all that twist into my yarn instead of just calming down. My last finished object is actually probably the one I'm proudest of. And I'm looking at it because I can't remember if I did it as a single or a chain ply, and I think I did it as a chain ply. No, I think I left it as a single. This is a Romney bat from Nerd Girl Yarns. Nerd Girl Yarns doesn't typically do bats, but in one of our updates, she did. And so I did partake a little bit ago. And I love these colors. They're just, this is a single. You can see how fuzzy it is, because I find that Romney is a super, super fuzzy yarn. It's got some thick and thinness to it because I did have a little bit of trouble drafting it. But not so much the drafting of it, but actually how the uptake on the wheel. I was trying to do bobbin and it wasn't working out as well as I'd like. So you could see right there's a lot of thickness. And over here there's a lot of thinness. But I love these colors. They're not my normal colors. Nothing I've actually shown you is really my normal colors. I'm very much a blue, green, gray, purple, orange, yellow, or kind of girl. I just don't really like red and brown. That's really what it comes down to. But these kind of like pastel-y blends aren't normally my ish. But I don't know. I'm really proud of how this one came out. And again, this has no plans but to sit on the shelf unless somebody has an idea for me. Since I didn't mention it because I suck at podcasting, you can find me on Ravelry as T-Knit Pearl, and you can also find me on Instagram as T-Knit Pearl. We do have a Ravelry group for the Creative Knit Tensions podcast, which you can find on Ravelry by going to the groups tab and searching for Creative Knit Tensions podcast. Should be pretty simple for that. I'll mention that again at the end of the episode because I'll probably forget. Stash acquisition. It was bound to happen, right? There is a giant stash acquisition that happened from the same Nerd Girl update this came from. But since it was a couple weeks ago, we're pretending it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. But what I will talk about is actually what came yesterday. And so, first I want to talk to you about my love of Jinx yarns. I love Jinx yarns. I don't have enough Jinx yarns. It's one of those brands that I got into a little too late, and now people like attack the store updates kind of things. But I love Jinx yarns, and maybe a few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, she'd been dyeing pretty frequently the Unsafe for Swimming colorway, which is a gray with like reds and light blues and things like that, and oh, it's so pretty and I love it. But I was holding back. Recently, she also started dyeing her Livestream colorway, And to me, in my brain, when I saw those on the website, I was looking at them like, these need to be friends. Somebody needs to put them together. Somebody needs them in Glitstock in like a Spectrum by like Hoagie Locatelli or Two Color Shawl. They need to be somewhere together. And so I had them in the cart, and since we have a very limited income right now for reasons I shouldn't probably get into, um, my husband and I talked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I think we can split it. I think we can make it happen." And so we had forgotten that night to check out, and the next morning I went to check out, and they were gone. I was so sad. I was finally like buying yarn that wasn't like from a gift card or like with Christmas money, because we've had to be very, very fiscally conservative for, again, reasons I don't want to get into. And it was like a window, and it was taken away, and it was so sad until yesterday when the cart jacker turned out to be my husband. So both of these are Glitstock by Jinx Yarns, and I'm sure you've all seen it, but look at the cute little label, the little, oh, I love that. I actually wish my hair was that color, but my red hair never dies. Just it decides not to. But so this is the Livestream colorway in the Glitstock base. It's like blues and greens, and here's a really good shot of the blues in there. And here's a really good shot of like some of the deeper, almost blacks in here. And oh, I love this. The Unsafe for Swimming colorway, like I said, is like a hodgepodge of colors. So it's got some grays, it's got some reds, there's some yellows and pinks, and there's even some purples in here, and it's just stunning. And so when I saw these two on the website together, I'm trying to find the best. Yeah, that looks like that. That's good lighting for you. I saw them together, and I knew they needed to be friends. Plus, thematically, Unsafe for Swimming, Livestream, like it goes together. And then, as many of you are probably aware of, there was the Volan Jinx, or the Jinx and Vine, depending what store you're buying from. So that is a collaboration between Laura from Jinx Yarns and Kristen from the Volan Vine Yarns. I say the Volan Vine Yarns because I want every single one of them, and as I keep telling my husband, I am desperately stalking I am desperately stalking her purple, that new bright, very beautiful purple of hers. I will always and forever be stalking Reflector. Arcade Fire is one of my favorite bands. Of a list of like 50, like, so it's not like it's my, like, if she made like a Modest Mouse inspired colorway, I would physically find where she lives and be like, give it to me. But I wouldn't do it as scary. I'd bring donuts. That just sounded so creepster, but unfortunately, for bands like Modest Mouse, that's not unexpected of me. Moving right past that. So the Jinx and Vine, or the Volan Jinx, depending what you'd like to refer to it as, was a collaboration, and so there were two colorways, one for Laura's store and one for Kristen's store. And I have the one from Laura's store. It is called Menahan on her Glitstock base, and I feel like a lot of you know this already, but her Glitstock base is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, 438 yards. And this is amazing. If you watch her little video podcast, I will show the yarn, don't worry. If you watch her little like vlog of when she was in New York, she shows how this was like constructed in the different layers, and I would have never thought that what she like showed would get to this. But now that it's here, I can totally see it, because in like the vlog, she starts with like this gray here, and then like they layer, and it is like just all these colors. There's gray, there's green, there's purple, there's literally a rainbow. There's even pink in here. There's some like beiges, there's some spectrums of grays and greens and yellows, and then little pops of chartreuse. You can even see them here. Little like chartreusey pops. I love chartreuse. And so there's that, and I'm really excited, but I have a new problem. Yeah, look how well these two go together. And I do apologize for the lighting today, guys. My husband went to go pick up medication, and I was like, crap, podcast, go! Because I should have done this a lot earlier. These two together, I mean, and now I put live stream next to unsafe for swimming, and I'm like, yes, yes. So I don't know what those are going to be. I am thinking, as I'd mentioned, the Spectrum Shawl by Hoagie Locatelli. That might be a strong contender for that. But yeah, if you have any ideas for 2-color shawl patterns that'll use at least 2 of these yarns, because they don't go together. The 3 of them don't go together. But these 2 go together, and these 2 go together. These 2 and these 2. Anyway. So, yeah, if you guys have suggestions, please let me know. In general, it's been hotter here. And I know that I've been hearing on podcasts, like podcasters from Texas are like, yeah, you guys complain about heat, but it's been like over 100 here. And yeah, there's a reason I don't live in Texas, and that's the big one of them. Yeah, I'm not a heat person. Some people are like, yeah, give me the heat, give me the sun. Yeah, not it. I sunburn in under 5 minutes. I wear SPF 365 days a year, and yet I still manage to sunburn no matter how much I reapply. I have severe issues with asthma, so humidity, which is what New York is known for, actually destroys me. I'm actually, in a legitimate sense, allergic to humidity. And so summers in New York aren't the best for me. I do enjoy beaches, however, so we're going to see how that pairs together yet again this summer. But today is about 85, and so everything feels really like hot and muggy already because the humidity is at like 80-something%. And again, because of fiscal reasons I'm not going to get into, we've been trying to not run our air conditioner or fans and be really power sensitive because we can't really afford for our electric bill to go more than like $10 above what it is in the winter, and air conditioners take a lot of electricity. So it's hot, guys. It's hot. And I'm going to complain about it probably for a really good while. But I have yarn. I have new pretties. I have new friends. And I made new friends. I mean, look. All of these have come home recently or have been made here recently. How amazing is that? And I'm getting, as much as it is a process in patience, I'm getting through this, guys, and I'm really excited by that. I feel like this cardigan is teaching me what I need in knitting right now. I feel like knitting doesn't, like, yeah, sometimes we just want to do the project or we want to get into that knit along or whatnot, but I feel like in a lot of ways knitting gives you exactly what you need when you need it. And right now in my life, there's like a lot of instability, there's a lot of lack of balance, there's a lot of me not being thrilled with circumstances, if you will. And that cardigan is kind of like saying like, yeah, I'm not gonna knit in a day. It's not happening. Take your time, slow down, things will work out in the end. And it's helping me be okay with that in a really weird way. But that is all I have for you guys today. Next time, again, I will show you some of those fabulous new quilting fabrics I have. There's just a lot to go over today, and I do try to keep my episodes around 30 minutes because there's so many podcasts I can't catch up on. Anyway, I won't belabor you guys anymore, but I do thank you for joining us today. Me, I have enough personalities to be an us. You can find us on Instagram as TKnitPearl. That's also what you can find us on as Ravelry as well as TKnitPearl. And we do have a Ravelry group for this. This is the Creative Knit Tensions podcast group. Join. It's pretty lonely. You can be an early adopter. Didn't you always want to be special? Yeah. Thank you everyone for your time today. And show me what you're working on. I want to see what you guys are doing. Have a great rest of the weekend. And for those of you, especially in Texas, stay cool.